Hi everybody, my name is Jimmy Carroll. I'm the Vice President of Operations at Tech B2B Marketing, and welcome to this episode of the Manufacturing Matters podcast, where I have the pleasure of being joined by my friend and co-host Winn Hardin and Matthieu and Fred Angelopoulos from Intel RealSense.
Thanks for having us.
Guys, thanks so much for taking the time, really appreciate it. So tell us a little bit about what you're most excited about right now at Intel RealSense and what's new and fun.
Well, I'm excited about tech. I'm a hacker on the team, chief developer evangelist, and we've got a bunch of new technology that we just released at this show. We launched a power over Ethernet camera. We've got some industrial cameras. We've got a facial authentication camera. A lot of new cool toys.
Very cool.
Very powerful toys, yeah. For me, they're toys. For everyone else, they're really industrial machines. They're robot sensors.
Are you guys building those completely in-house at Intel, or are you guys partnering in terms of the camera builds?
No, we build it ourselves. We have manufacturing facilities across the world.
Yeah. That I know. Awesome. So, what are you guys most excited about here at Automate this year so far?
I can tell you, we walked the show floor,
Yeah.
and almost every single robot or arm or AMR had RealSense cameras in them. So we were doing sound bites. Everyone was like, "We love RealSense." I'm like, "Oh, fantastic! A+. You get a gold star. You get a gold star."
Oh man, everyone has been waiting for volume availability for it seems like a long time, although I'm just old.
Well, no,
It take a long time.
It's almost like with the, and this is maybe like waxing poetic a bit, right? But like with the advent of the Intel RealSense, it was almost like 3D imaging sort of like came of age, like affordability became an option for 3D, and a smaller device, not a larger, more expensive device, and that's just opened up a lot of doors, I think, for a lot of people.
You know, earlier this year we launched. It's called a D421 camera, $80 legit RealSense stereo depth camera. I mean, that is like all the makers, hackers, experiment, students, they all gravitate to that camera, and it's every bit as powerful as all the rest of our products.
Is that a camera on board, or is that a full enclosure?
It's open, but it's got a metal plate on the back with mounting holes. So I think it's perfect for like Raspberry Pis or like small AMRs, experiments and whatever you build with that camera on a smaller $200 robot will just apply to a $50,000 AMR. As long as it's from Ross and RealSense, it doesn't matter the scale.
Beautiful. That's so cool.
Yeah, it's like the democratization of 3D imaging, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, and there's a lot of, people think of robotics and they think of humanoids, which of course is the coolest. But there's a lot of small robotic applications. It's like
The vast majority of them.
Yeah.
floor cleaners,
Yeah.
Delivery robots, things like that, where they have a compressed cost of goods. So their whole cost of goods might be $500 or $600.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we built this to be able to provide to those people and to compete in some of the markets that are kind of really price suppressed. So yeah, we're excited about that, and the PoE is I think very important for us. Having power over Ethernet is a big breakthrough for us. So a lot of good stuff, but yeah, it's just great, as Chris said, walking around and seeing the applications.
I want to expand on that PoE, the power over Ethernet camera. It can go 100 meters. Powered by Ethernet with a camera or with a server in a closet somewhere. So in a production line, conveyor belts or whatever, you could string these things out 100 meters far and do all your depth sensing way out.
Yes, I mean that's super important. My mind's been jumping from things like how you deal with embedded systems versus traditional robotic applications, or even machine vision, right? I mean, where do you see the most exciting part? But then you bring in the consumer high volume applications that are basically transitioning machine vision capability down to the consumer electronic space, and I just gotta think you guys are busy as heck.
Well, I mean, to your point, like when I think of our cameras, I'm thinking mostly robots. But if you look at that PoE camera, it opens up tons of use cases.
Right.
For automation, for security in stores, for like counting people and stuff in shopping malls, like all
Easy
sorts of
integration with
use cases.
existing industrial networks.
Yeah.
And our SDK is open source, and it runs on all of our product lines. So I mean, you build something for one, it'll work on any style of camera we're shipping.
And I think that's an important part of our solution is the SDK. I think it's the best out there, and it just makes it easy for first-time integrator or manufacturer to to integrate RealSense. You know?
Absolutely.
And it's beautiful that you guys designed it with the intent to be compatible with ROS.
Yes.
Basic robotic operating
Yep.
system, open source.
Yep.
I mean, really making it.
We have a Python wrapper as well. So Python's like the new popular language for all the AI. Yeah, you can just do Python to camera. And if you use like Copilot or Cursor AI, it writes all the RealSense code for you. Like you don't even have to be a programmer anymore to implement cool innovations with our products.
You still need those programmers to come up with the ideas. Right?
Yes,
You
yes.
still need.
But I think anyone now, so there's like 30 million programmers in the world.
Yeah.
Now I think with this type of Cursor or Copilot technology, anyone is a programmer now.
100%.
Now it's accessible. You have an idea,
Yep.
whether you can code or not, AI can write the code that does real
Certainly.
sense.
Especially for point applications.
Absolutely.
Yeah, getting into wide area, large scale enterprise stuff, it still requires a little bit of expertise to make it.
Yeah.
There's a point that I keep bringing up a lot, and it's a little bit, I do it a little bit too often, but I think it's super relevant right now. But at the A3 Business Forum this past January, somebody was talking about automation, basically saying, you know, this technology's been around for a long time, but in many ways, we're only just getting started. Right?
100%,
And
yeah.
one of the areas of growth that I'm looking at is you know, small to medium-sized enterprise. And I'm just thinking about how an $80 camera that can offer 3D imaging capabilities, along with, you know, easy-to-use cobots, flexible, repurposable cobots and cameras, can really start to open up new doors. Are you seeing anything there for some of these smaller companies?
Tons. Yeah, I mean, like Fred was saying, there's so many specialty robots that are maybe inexpensive but very focused on a solution. I've seen like our $80 cameras, I've seen our $250 cameras. It's all based on the application or the price point they want.
Right.
You know, like our $80 camera, one of the reasons it's $80 is it doesn't have an RGB on it, it's just the depth sensors.
Right.
I was like, I wonder if it can still do object detection without an RGB camera. So I asked Cursor AI, would you help me out here? And sure enough, it said, let's use YOLO, I can detect a human, the human's 3 meters away. I'm like, holy cow. Like,
Yeah.
the only reason you need that RGB camera is if you're trying to do something with color. Like
100%.
follow a red ball or
Yeah.
something like that. Other than that, that $80 camera is gonna suit, you know, a lot of those
And we've
projects.
seen those cameras. That capability's been around for a number of
Absolutely.
years, but we're talking about $5,000 price points.
Exactly.
Yep.
You know, and
Exactly.
usually a little bit of a software commitment cost
Yes,
on the backside.
absolutely.
So,
You know, another camera we don't talk about like at this show mostly, but the RealSense ID. That is taking
Facial
off
ID?
like wildfire.
Yeah. Oh,
Facial authentication.
Yeah.
It's an amazing new product that again gets us into a whole bunch of new markets. You know, access control, security.
Yeah.
did you think about it, 10,
Yeah.
15 years ago, biometrics freaked everybody
Oh, yeah.
out.
I know.
Maybe 20 years ago.
Now you got your phone. Everyone's doing this all day long.
For sure, that was the thing, right? It's the facial ID on your phone. Now it's like, oh, hey, I'm used to it.
Yeah.
I need it.
Exactly.
I
It's-
can't live without
I don't
it.
want to type in that
Exactly.
6-digit code 500
Exactly.
times a day.
Or I forgot my badge. You know, at work. Just use my face.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
right.
I mean, ATMs, I mean, it's in the security
Yeah.
factors are actually.
Yep.
We're working on a project right now in Korea and Vietnam with ATMs, you know, using facial authentication, and you know, it's really going to take off in the next few years because it's just, you know, like I have a plastic badge. right?
Timing.
If I drop that badge in the parking lot, people are getting into the company.
100%.
You know, and so and we have so many applications. We have, you know, employees, some of our customers have employees that, well, we have 10% of them are blacklisted. So, but we can't track them. So we can enter that data and then the facial authentication will say, hey, you can't enter. But it's really, you know, robotics, everyone loves because it's cool and you can see it and it's doing amazing things. But everyone has a door.
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Does that help to maybe possibly blur the line between cobots and traditional industrial robots? Because now we have the ability to have even better human sensing, increased safety.
I talk with other robotic companies about that idea all the time. It's like humanoids. I want my humanoid to only take commands or orders or missions from my family. And maybe I want it to bring me something instead of my wife something. So it has to know who people are around it.
Oh, sure.
And our camera powers that.
Right, right. Yeah, I mean, in humanoid applications, which is a growth area and a little bit of future state, you know, but I could even see just that safety component, you know,
Yes.
the biggest challenge. One of the biggest price points of a traditional robot work cell is the safety elements.
No question.
Right?
Yeah.
And I know a number of different robotic arm manufacturers have started to use a multi-sensor approach,
Yep.
you know, to be able to provide and then so that you can go up higher on payloads and faster on speeds.
Yeah,
You know?
exactly.
Absolutely.
So
That's an interesting topic. Like when I think it was Figure had a Figure of robots. They had a whole piece on that where, with our cameras or in general, like you can do things 10x of a human, like perception, movement. So I mean, think about that in an automation environment where a humanoid is 10x outperforming a human because of all the digital capabilities and perception.
I would have liked some help last weekend when I was digging out some shrubs in the hedge. Yeah, 57 guys, I'm gonna tell you. Swinging the mall is not as much fun as it used to be.
One of our customers has an application that does that. Actually using our technology, it's and it's driven by sunlight, solar. Goes to identify it's a weed and not a weed.
Yeah.
Picks the weed.
Well, now we're in agri-tech, which is one of the most exciting areas
Yep.
for me.
Yep.
I really think,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
food production is going to be such a critical component in the
Yeah,
future state.
absolutely.
And automation's already been widely adopted in that space, but there's
Absolutely.
a lot further to go,
Yeah.
especially in terms of sustainability,
Yeah.
environmental protection.
We have, in that space, we have customers that are using it for cattle to basically be able to understand their weight and are they at the proper weight, are they, being well fed, are they sick? But
Yeah.
it's just, I mean, I think there's a big opportunity in agriculture.
I interviewed the founder of Greensy at the Robotics Summit a couple of weeks ago, and they're retrofitting commercial lawnmowers with RealSense cameras and auto navigation, so you don't have to cut the grass anymore.
Without turning over the cat, which is probably an important design consideration. We'll leave it at the cat. We'll stop there.
I've been following you guys for a long time. In a past life, I wrote for a Machine Vision magazine, so it's fun to be able to ask you guys questions. One of the big ones I have to ask, of course, is like years ago, the news was put out there that Intel would stop production on RealSense, which was very surprising, given how prolific, how maybe not prolific, but how widespread the product is used in robotics and elsewhere. And then the news came out that you'll be spinning out. So talk a little bit about that. What led to this?
Yeah, sure. Well, it's interesting because going back to that, I think it was maybe 2018, 2019, when a statement went out that said Intel is winding down RealSense, and the fact was we were winding down the LiDAR line.
Gotcha.
So we're just focusing on depth and not LiDAR. I think we have a better solution, better safety than LiDAR. But once it's on the internet,
It's a life of its own.
Yeah, absolutely. And people, I thought you guys shut down a line, So we had to face that for a long
Read that
time,
third paragraph.
Yeah.
But most of us.
It's tough too because we have leading market share. I think we have probably 60% of all robotics in the humanoid market.
Almost all of them.
80% at least, and the stuff that's coming out of China is amazing. When you look at manufacturing, they need humanoids to 24-hour work, 7 days a week, don't call in sick, and so some of Unitree, Agibot, some of these companies are great partners of ours, and it's amazing to see what they do. The Unitree stuff is spectacular.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, OBX is doing, I think, a current trial with 5 different humanoid variants in their logistics warehouse, and we've had a quick conversation with them, but I want to dig a lot deeper with that. So, Caitlin, coming after you. That's fantastic. So you mentioned that obviously RealSense is going into, you mentioned the mower, the auto mower.
Yeah.
And you mentioned seeing the cameras all across the show floor out there. Can you tell us a little bit more? Are they mainly for safety applications? Is this for guidance optimization, robot placement? What are the types of
everything? Like when we walked through, they were like AMRs. They were using them like 360 degrees around an AMR, moving around the show. We saw them on forklifts. So like as the forklift is coming to the pallet, it can see that it can even volumize the pallet and have better positioning.
And
so
a lot of
optimization, a lot of path optimization and safety.
Yeah, arms. We saw them.
Well,
on a lot of arms.
that's a big part of it is the robotic arms because if you look at today's world, you want to order something online, late at night and you want to get it the next morning, that's because it's robotic arms and AMRs doing that, you know. So yeah, that's a big part of it, putting a camera in the hand of the arm so they can identify the right product to pick and place.
You know, we have a little quadruped, a dog in our booth, walk around. It's got a RealSense camera right above here. You know, the Boston Dynamics robots, you know, they're walking the Intel fabs. I've seen them, and they're listening to, like, you know, machines out of threshold, like frequencies,
Yes.
and they're opening tickets, like support tickets, as they're walking past the machine, going, keep walking.
Yeah, no,
It's
the better
amazing.
maintenance things, especially with Boston Dynamics, are super.
Yeah.
And you know, I got to give some props to Anybotics in Switzerland and Zurich, because they have Animal X, which is another amazing robot. Everyone here loves to talk about Boston Dynamics, and they were definitely, you know,
It's because the
a
YouTube
game
videos
changer.
are awesome, man.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, exactly. But I mean, Animal X goes into oil rigs in the middle of the sea. You know, climbs the steps. It's so you know, robotic dogs. I
But
think
can
for
it do parkour?
These
are really important.
They have wheels in their paws.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
And so as they're going, if there's time where they can just coast, the wheels recharge the battery. So, you know, a robot, I think people are like, oh, robot dogs are cool, but they're really important. They go into places that humans can't go.
Yeah, or
you know.
shouldn't.
You know, while we're giving props to our favorite robots, Agility Robotics with Digit is here at the show, and
Yeah.
he's got like 7 or more of our cameras in him. It's the grasshopper leg looking robot, lifting all those boxes, you know, the Amazons and stuff. That's one of my favorites.
Yeah, we have there's so many. I mean, the cool thing is our customers come up with applications before we do in a lot of cases.
Sure. Well, they're the domain experts, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. There's a company out of South San Francisco called Simbi. They were a startup.
Oh, yeah.
They use 16 of our cameras. They are going inside of supermarkets and doing real-time inventory while the customer's there, right? So they have to be aware of where the customer is, make sure it's safe, but it's an amazing application.
And
really.
kids think it's cute, so they walk up to it, and it's got eyes, and it knows how to, you know, be kind and gentle around, move around.
That's good. That's good. So the next generation grows up. Well, we're already seeing, I mean, the concerns and the retrenchment against robotics in the general, you know, world. That's changed.
Absolutely.
It's changed massively.
Absolutely.
Now it's AI's the new frontier of fear. But, you know, I mean, it's all about education and familiarity, you know.
Everyone wants a humanoid to do their dishes, fold their laundry, clean the
100%.
house. Yeah, they're waiting.
Yes.
Yeah.
Watch my dog while I'm on the road. That would be super awesome. Boarding costs are killing me. Killing me.
And there's other applications that are incredibly unique that, you know, we wouldn't have thought of using our technology. It's not robotics based. We have one company that's using our technology in grain silos. So instead of having to go in and measure, and grain silos can be a dangerous environment.
Very dangerous environment.
So they just put the cameras in there and they can see, the regression of the grain, and we can load this one, and things like that. We have an application where I don't know if I can talk about the restaurant chains that are using it, but if you're going to get a burrito or some Chinese food, and it's one of these places where you slide down the line and they have the pans of food, and I'll take this, take that. So if you run out of chicken, what happens? The whole line stops. Now they have
Oh, that's the
cameras on the pans.
Right.
So they're like, oh, we're below 50%. We need, and it sends the message back to the kitchen. Need to get chicken out here in the next 5 minutes. So those are the kind of things like, who'd have thought?
I'm just happy to have buffets with warm food.
Exactly.
That's very cool.
Exactly.
We sort of touched on this a little bit earlier, but the idea of there being a 3D camera with such a low price point, what's been your experience with, I won't say prototyping, but like companies that are startups maybe being able to go from ideation to real world deployment? Do you work with you must work with a lot of companies in that?
Yeah.
And what sort of guidance do you give them?
Yeah, those are great questions, because this is really a big part of what RealSense is all about. We don't just say, hey, here's cameras, pick the one you want. We take them through the whole process. So the first thing is like, well, you guys got 30 SKUs. This is really about 8 cameras, but whether you want them in the, with a container or just on the board, but they don't know where to start. What's your application? What are you looking at? And we get them samples, and basically have weekly meetings with them as they develop. So we're super supportive the whole way because we understand for a lot of these companies, they're taking a leap of faith in us.
Yeah.
And it's like they've never done it before. And how do we optimize it? It was the
Well, in
best
some
way to
cases, no one's ever done it before.
Exactly,
Right.
exactly.
It's all
So we pride ourselves on that. We collaborate very strongly with our customers, and we have a really great relationship with them. You know, it's we say it's all about the customer.
Until the real sense getting warm and fuzzy.
Yeah.
Well, and Jimmy, that's another interesting point about makers and hackers, building something in their garage with the $80 camera. You never know where that next big hit's going to come from. They'll be calling us with 10,000, maybe higher end cameras because it works on the $80 camera.
Yeah, true.
So, talk to us a little bit about how AI plays into the RealSense 3D product line. Is it important to you guys, or?
It's extremely important.
Okay.
So, I mean, if you look at, there's a lot of, our cameras have ASICs built in, so they're doing all the depth on the camera.
Right.
So, I mean, I can run this on a Raspberry Pi with almost no compute, and it doesn't even get hot, because the RealSense camera's taken the brunt of all that AI and computation and calculations. We started some experiments that are starting to pan out in-house in our R&D group, doing like object detection with 3D instead of 2D. So like all the algorithms on the market, YOLOs, et cetera, they all do 2D like webcam or RGB type cam recognition. Well, if you have like a doorbell, a smart doorbell, and you're getting false alarms because there's a raccoon in your yard instead of a human, the 3D, if you use the 3D for AI, we're finding that this is the next frontier of AI, I think, is moving from 2D to 3D AI.
Right. I wonder what that'll mean for model efficiency, model
yeah.
optimization.
Yeah.
Which would be great. I mean, I think that's one of the barriers to overcome for AI. So I need to design a good training model. I need the right data to be able to do so. But it's hard to know whether you're going down the right path.
Exactly.
Right. I mean, we saw that in machine vision. I mean, back in the day, it was all monochrome, and then color became another, distinguishing feature that we could leverage. And then, of course, 3D in general. And now you guys are bringing that to the mass market.
I did an experiment and it worked, and it blew my mind. I said, can I just take a RealSense camera and stream all of its sensor data, telemetry, into ChatGPT or Claude or an LLM?
No kidding.
And all these multimodal LLMs, again, no programming. You can just say, do you see a human in this stream? And it's like, yes.
I'd almost like just ask it, what do you see?
Yeah. I did that to my robot. I said, what do you see? And he looks at me and he goes, I see an old man. I'm not going to ask him that again. But but then you just give it missions. You say, if you don't see a human, can you move around, look for a human, find a human, follow the human? I did that at the Robotics Summit. In 10 minutes, I talked to an LLM, and it wrote all the code for my RealSense roster robot to follow me in 10 minutes.
Wow.
I didn't write a line, but it was the ChatGPT or the LLM saying, I see a human, translating that into distance and saying, send ROS twist commands to move the robot, stop a meter away. The crowd was just like, oh my gosh, like this opens up even more for everybody. Like this is robotics for everybody.
Yeah. A lot of people out there are wondering, what is the real impact of AI? We're starting this, you guys are talking about it directly right now. I mean, we do a lot of programming in our business and everything, so we've leveraged that for, plug-in widget optimization, whatever it is. But, I mean, end-to-end robotic applications.
But if you think about it, it's like a brain. Like you just gave that robot a brain.
Yeah.
And you've given it a mission, so it's figuring everything out and sending ROS commands to move the robot. If you think about what's happening there, it's mind-blowing.
Yeah.
And this is, like you said earlier, this is the beginning.
Yeah.
Everything is iterating.
The beginning
so
of the
quickly.
beginning.
Yeah,
Frankly.
the beginning.
I mean, we're barely,
Yeah.
Come on, C3PO.
I imagine that you see the intersection of AI and 3D is obviously very interesting, but I imagine you see some use in like food sorting and food production in general, right? Because
100%.
you're having to deal with organic, different, slightly everything's a little bit chicken breast, for example, or oranges or something.
We have an application with the strawberry farms where the device has to be able to tell which is right, which is underripe, which is overripe, right? So you have a 33% chance of getting the right one. But with the AI vision, it's 99.99, you're getting the right one.
There was a student at the robotics summit that in 2 weeks he built a tomato picker using RealSense, and the thing would just had wheels that moved down a track, and it would look at every tomato, kind of like you're saying. It would look for, is it bruised, is it ripe, and it actually had the little thing that would twist the tomato off and put it in a sack. He did that in 2 weeks.
I
the
can
full
literally
end-to-end
remember
robot.
similar applications on apple picking and tomatoes 10 to 15 years ago, right back in the day when we were working and publishing so much. And there was a Dutch company that was doing it at the time from a government grant, and they had spent years trying to solve the agriculture automated picker, application. And in the end, it still wasn't very, because the systems weren't ready for ambient light changes, making it so difficult. The 3D element takes all that.
Timing. It's all happening right now.
Right.
Yeah. And everyone's open sourcing things, iterating on top of each other.
That's so cool.
It's getting easier and faster.
I like easy. I like fast.
RealSense to me seems like something that could also be used in different aspects of different processes. And what I mean specifically is, like, we're talking about AI, right? And digital twins is something that comes up a lot with AI lately.
Yeah.
And given that the RealSense is so inexpensive, like, are you finding a lot of people are using RealSense to create digital twins, do scans?
Absolutely. Probably one of our first customers in that area was Rihanna. She was doing her own clothing line, and she wanted people to be able to create a digital twin and try her stuff on.
Really?
So yeah, that was really one of our first applications about 3 years ago on digital twins, and now we see it a lot. Fit, Mass, Shape, Scale. These are companies that are using scanning technology and digital twins to compare your health, basically your fitness, areas that you need to work on, areas that are in good shape, and things like that. So yeah, digital twins is a big part of kind of what we do, and I think again it makes experience much more satisfying for the user, right?
We released an Android edition of our SDK, so now people are putting the scanners on their Android tablets and creating the digital twins, walking around with the scanners.
It's very cool.
You've either got, if you're a manufacturer in your industrial environment, if you have a digital twin, so you've got a simulated environment of a production line of the plant. To be able to connect that to real-time operations and be able to visualize the whole thing, we've either got to install miles and miles of cable.
Yep.
And maybe hundreds or more individual point sensors.
Yep.
Right? We were just talking with another very interesting group over at Spot AI earlier, and talking about, can one camera replace 5, 10, 20 point sensors? Depending on the environment that it's covering. If we're just looking at conveyor speeds and we're looking at hands-off, and we don't need to have the photo eye and the accumulator, we can just visually detect all of that type of information. To me, that seems like can be a real game changer.
Totally. Yeah, you've got the RGB. It's a great RGB camera in the device, so you could just look at things and do your object detection and use depth, whatever distance you need to set it at to identify where it's at.
Right. We probably should have said congrats to Riri, by the way, who's pregnant right now. So
Yeah.
I know you're not watching this.
She might be.
You never know. Obviously, she contacted y'all, so she's got a tech mind.
What's next for you
Oh,
guys? What are you excited about?
I think just excited for the future. We are spinning out of Intel over the next few months, and I think Intel's been an incredible partner, and they're going to be a key investor for us. But we're excited to go on our own path here.
Absolutely.
Giving us maybe the freedom to tell our story and kind of run on our own. So we're excited about that. We've got some new technologies coming on board in the next 12 to 18 months around safety and things like that I think are going to make a huge impact on the industry. So I think that's an area that still needs to be addressed.
Yes.
Because it's an environment where you have robots and humans.
This is mainly software envelope development, application-specific type stuff.
It's a combination of software and hardware, but
Okay.
a big part of that's going to be software.
Absolutely. Chris, Fred, it's really been a pleasure. Thank you so much for
Thanks for
joining
having
us
me.
today.
Yeah, thank you.
And I'm sure we're going to see you a lot more on the road.
Oh, for sure.
I think our paths will be intersecting.
Appreciate it.
As always, thanks to the guys, thanks to Jimmy, thanks for joining us. If you've got any questions for RealSense, please put them below. We'll make sure it gets to the guys. If you want to see any past episodes, go to manufacturing-matters.com, where as always, we're talking about the technology and trends that are reshaping the global manufacturing industry. You can also find us on all your favorite podcast platforms. So until next time, thanks again, guys.
Thank you so
Thanks.
much.
Thanks, everybody.